I pulled the trigger on that rainy night in the Silicon Valley parking garage, the echo bouncing off the concrete like God's own judgment, and whispered her name as the body hit the ground, Victoria Hale. The woman I loved more than my own soul. The one I'd just murdered to protect. But here's the sick twist. It was a murder. Not legally.
Anyway.
Self-defense. The cops called it later. After I spun the tale just right. What they didn't know, what no one knew, was that the gun in my hand was loaded with blanks. And the blood pooling under Senator Harlan's corpse was from a packet I'd hidden in his coat. Victoria had begged me to do it. Her tears hot on my neck as she confessed he'd been blackmailing her for years, threatening to bury her fledgling tech empire under scandals of embezzlement and affairs. "Do this for me, Alex," she'd sobbed, "and we'll build it all together."
So I did.
I became the monster in the story, the loyal husband taking the fall, confessing to a killing I staged to save her skin. The jury bought it. Manslaughter. 5 years in San Quentin. A slap on the wrist for a man with no priors and a silver tongue. But as the gavel fell, I saw it in her eyes from the courtroom gallery. Not gratitude, but calculation. She was already rewriting the narrative, her hand on some faceless lawyer's knee, her empire rising on the ashes of my sacrifice. Prison was a different kind of hell, the kind that chews up your edges and spits out something sharper, meaner. San Quentin's walls, those gray slabs etched with the ghosts of men who'd cracked under less, became my university in survival. I learned to read the room like a poker hand, spot the shank in a sleeve, the snitch in a whisper. Victoria visited once a month, her designer heels clicking like metronomes of false sympathy, bringing care packages of books on coding and startups, as if I were just on sabbatical. "Miss you, babe," she'd say, pressing her manicured fingers to the glass, her lips mouthing promises of appeals and beach houses in Malibu once I was out. But I saw the headlines she fed the press. Tech widow forges ahead amid tragedy. Her company,
Hale Dynamics,
ballooned from a niche AI firm to a billion-dollar beast, snapping up patents like candy. Her face on Forbes as the resilient queen of Silicon Valley. And me, the footnotes. The tragic footnote in her origin story. By year 3, the visits tapered, excuses about board meetings. Then nothing. A letter arrived instead. "It's too hard, Alex. Focus on healing. I'll always love you." Bullshit. I knew then she'd played me. Used my devotion like a loaded dice. The secret I held? It burned in my gut like bad whiskey. The one thing that could topple her throne. Not just the blanks in the gun, though that alone would paint her as the puppet master, but the drive I'd swiped from Harlan's safe that night,
tucked in my sock during the arrest.
Encrypted files proving Victoria hadn't just embezzled. She'd orchestrated a data breach that funneled millions into offshore accounts, bribing regulators and burying whistleblowers under NDAs thicker than concrete. Harlan wasn't blackmailing her over an affair. He'd caught her selling user data to foreign operatives. The kind of treason that could land her in Gitmo. I'd staged the murder to silence him. But in doing so, I'd become the keeper of her apocalypse. 5 years of nights. I'd stare at the bunk above me, replaying her laugh from our wedding in Napa, wondering when the mask slipped. Was it the money, the power, or had she always been this cold? A viper in the lemon? Parole came early, good behavior, they said. But really it was the letters I'd forged from supporters, greased by a guard I'd bought with smuggled cash. Freedom tasted like smog and regret when I stepped out into the Bay Area fog on a crisp October morning in 2025. The world humming with self-driving Teslas and AR billboards hawking neural implants. Victoria's face beamed from a jumbotron across the street. Hail Dynamics, shaping tomorrow's mind. Tomorrow's mind.
My ass.
Mine was already plotting her end. I didn't go home. Our old loft in Soma was hers now. Per the divorce papers she'd filed from prison, citing irreconcilable differences and my instability. Instead, I crashed at a Fleabag motel off Highway 101, the kind where the roaches unionized and the Wi-Fi was a myth. First order, a burner phone and a deep web dive into her empire. Hail Dynamics had tentacles everywhere now, AI for predictive policing, facial rec that knew your sins before you confessed, venture capital pouring in from Wall Street sharks smelling blood. But cracks showed if you knew where to poke. A Reddit thread from ex-employees whispered of burnout and disappearances, coders vanishing after questioning her ethics. A leaked memo hinted at off-books projects, neural hacks that could rewrite memories. She'd always dreamed big, back when we were bootstrapping in a garage, coding till dawn on Red Bull and takeout pho. But this was God-complex shit. The American dream twisted into a nightmare of surveillance capitalism. I reached out to an old contact, Marcus, a hacker buddy from my pre-Victoria days slinging code for startups. Need eyes on her, I texted from a VPN. His reply pinged back, dude, you're a ghost. She's got layers of ice thicker than a polar bear's ass. What's the play? Revenge. I typed.
Pure.
Unfiltered. But layered with enough deniability to walk away clean. Or so I thought. The first move was recon. Low and slow. I dyed my hair black, grew a beard that itched like regret, and posed as a freelance journalist pitching a redemption arc profile on the Tech Titans X. Her PR flack bit, hooked on the clickbait potential, and scheduled a coffee at a spot in Palo Alto. All reclaimed wood and overpriced lattes. Victoria swept in 10 minutes late, unchanged except for the sharper cheekbones, the eyes like polished obsidian. Alex, she breathed, sliding into the booth with a smile that didn't reach her soul. You look good. Free. I forced a grin, stirring my black coffee.
Parole sa bitch.
But the food's better outside. Small talk flowed like syrup, her latest TED Talk. My therapy sessions, but I watched her fingers drum the table. That tell from our poker nights when she bluffed. Heard you're killing it, I said, nodding to the news on my phone. Billionaire status suits you. She waved it off, but her gaze lingered, probing. It's lonely at the top.
Babe.
Wish you were there.
Lies.
I could smell them, acrid as burn code. As we hugged goodbye, her perfume.
Chanel no.
5. Hitting like a gut punch, I slipped a micro-tracker into her Birkin bag's lining. Baby steps. That night, back in motel, the app lit up, her limo pinging to a private airstrip. Then a Gulfstream to D.C. Interesting. Senator Harlan's old stomping grounds. The secret drive hummed in my laptop bag, its files a ticking bomb. But detonating too soon? Suicide. No. This revenge would be surgical. A virus in her system. Watched her code unravel line by line.
D.C.
In November is a swamp of suits and secrets. The Potomac fog rolling in like a bad omen as I tailed her from a rental Prius. The tracker stopped pulsing on my dash-mounted tablet. Victoria's jet had touched down at Dulles. And from there, it was black SUVs and encrypted calls straight out of a Bourne flick. If Bourne coded for Big Brother. I checked into a daze in near the Beltway. The kind of place where the ice machine groans like a dying man, and fired up Marcus's custom rig, facial rec scrapers, drone feeds hacked from public cams. The works. She'd gone to ground in a Georgetown brownstone. Not the official Hale offices, but a nondescript spot with consulting firm plates, smoke, and mirrors for off-the-books deals. By midnight, I'd pieced it, a sit-down with a cabal of lobbyists. The kind who peddle influence like street fentanyl. Harlan's successors. No doubt. Buying her silence or her tech. The Drive's files confirmed it, logs of wire transfers to his campaign, tied to that data breach. She'd been playing both sides, feeding Harlan dirt to keep him hooked, then cutting the line when he got too greedy. And I, the fall guy who made it look clean. Sleep was a joke that night. Dreams splicing her laugh with the crack of that blank round, waking me in sweats. Dawn brought clarity, hit her where it hurts. The boardroom. Hale Dynamics' next earnings call was in 2 weeks. A dog and pony show streamed to Wall Street wolves. Leak a teaser from the Drive, anonymized, just enough to spook investors and watch the stock dip. But Marcus warned me over an encrypted voice line. This ain't amateur hour. Alex. She's got feds in her pocket now. Post Harlan. One wrong ping, and you're back in the hole, or worse.
Worse.
Yeah, I knew worse. The feds had sniffed around my confession back then, but Victoria's lawyers spun it as grief-fueled illusion.
Now?
With her empire's glow, any whiff of fraud could drag me under too. Moral ambiguity. The great American equalizer, no heroes. Just survivors scraping for the high ground. I spent the day blending tourist traps by the mall, snapping pics of monuments while my phone scraped SEC filings. Her stock was stratospheric, P/E ratio through the roof on AI hype. But buried in the 10K? Footnotes on regulatory inquiries.
Cracks.
Back in the Bay by week's end, I escalated. Posed as a headhunter. Landed an interview at Hale under a fake LinkedIn. Ethan Crow.
Ex-Google.
Seeking VP of Ethics. Ironic, right? The lobby was a shrine to her. Holographic displays of neural nets predicting crime waves. Her smiling portrait like a cult leader's icon. HR bought the resume. And up I went to the glass tower. Nerves jangling like loose change. Victoria wasn't there, thank Christ, but her COO. A weasel named Trent with a comb-over and Rolex gleam. Grilled me on cultural fit. We innovate without apology, he droned, eyes darting to his screen. I nodded, dropping bait. Heard about the Harlan fallout. Tough break for the founder. His twitch was gold, a micro-flinch. Then recovery. Ancient history.
Big sombra kapla.
Unbreakable. I filed that away, along with the access badge I'd palmed from his desk during a bathroom break. Night ops. Midnight breach via the service elevator. Ghosting through server farms humming like beehives. The badge got me to sublevel 3. R&D vaults where the real magic and monstrosities happened. Air thick with ozone. Racks of quantum drives pulsing blue. I jacked in. Marcus's worms slithering through firewalls. Exfiltrating gigabytes. Prototypes for memory implants. Test subjects' logs showing anomalies. Amnesiacs. Suicides. Her empire wasn't just data, it was souls. Rewritten for profit. But karma's a fickle bitch. As I yanked the drive, my second, the first still virgin, I tripped a silent alarm. Lights flickered. Corridors sealing like a tomb. Heart slamming. I bolted for the stairs. Badge beeping denials. Guards' radios crackling in the distance.
Down. Down.
into the loading dock where semis idled like beasts. I hot-wired a forklift, skills from a misspent youth, and rammed the bay door, screeching into the pre-dawn gloom as klaxons wailed. Sirens chased me to the 280, but I lost them in traffic, ditching the ride in a strip mall lot. Back at the motel, panting over the hall, Marcus whistled through the line. Holy shit.
Man.
This is plutonium. Memory wipes? She's building Skynet's therapist. Yeah. And the subjects? Low-income clinics in Oakland. Free trials for the desperate. Betrayal layered on exploitation. The Victoria I'd coded with now, a baroness of broken minds. But the files hit a gut punch. My name, buried in metadata. I'd signed off on the early trials, back when it was revolutionary therapy for PTSD. Her notes, Alex's input invaluable, keep him close. Close enough to burn. The leak dropped that Friday, timed for after hours, anonymous pastebin dump. Snippets of the implant logs redacted just enough to scream scandal without fingering source. By Monday, CNBC was frothing. Hail Dynamics' dark side. Mind control or miracle? Stock plunged 15%. Analysts baying for blood. Victoria's response? A presser from her penthouse. Poised like armor. Misinformation from disgruntled exes. We're transparent as glass. But I saw the cracks in the live stream. Her jaw tight. Eyes scanning for ghosts.
Me.
That night, my burner buzzed, unknown number. We need to talk. Alex. Coffee? Same spot. Her voice. Silk over steel. Bait or olive branch? I showed. Wired for sound. The Palo Alto Cafe buzzing with venture bros. She slid in. No bag this time. Just a trench coat and shadows under her eyes. You think I don't know, she murmured, stirring her matcha. The leak. The breach. It's you, isn't it? I leaned in, voice low. 5 years.
Big.
For you. And this is the thanks. Her laugh was bitter. A sound I'd never heard. You were always the hero, Alex. But heroes die young. Then the twist of the knife. Harlan wasn't the only one. I did it for us, for the baby we lost. You remember? The miscarriage that broke you? Lies. Or half-truths. Our loss. Real enough. But weaponized now. She reached across.
Fingers brushing mine.
Electric. Come back.
We can fix this.
Together. Temptation coiled like smoke. But the drive in my pocket whispered no. Not yet. Her touch lingered like a brand as I drove south on 101, the Santa Cruz Mountains blurring into redwoods that clawed at the sky like accusations. Victoria's offer hung heavy, come back. Fix it. Together, a siren's song laced with the venom I'd tasted before. But the baby? That miscarriage in 19. The one that hollowed us out. Sending me to the bottle, and her to the boardroom grind. Was it leverage? Or a crack in her armor? I needed proof. Something to shatter the illusion. Marcus had a contact in the valley's underbelly. A former Hale engineer named Lena, who'd bailed after a non-voluntary exit interview. We met in a dive bar off El Camino. The kind where the jukebox spun Springsteen, and the beer was warm but honest. Lena was mid-40s, wiry with tattooed arms and eyes like spent cartridges, nursing a whiskey neat. She burned me, she spat, sliding over a USB stick. Implants fried my buddy's recall. Guy thought his wife was his mom. Vic called it calibration error. Buried the report. The stick? Blueprints for weaponized versions. Not therapy. but interrogation tools, sold under the table to black-budget spooks. My secret drive synced with it, Victoria's signature on the contracts. Dated post-Harlan. Pre my confession. She'd escalated while I rotted, turning grief into empire. Lena's tale unfolded like a bad acid trip, test subjects in pop-up clinics, undocumented folks lured with green cards and cash, emerging blank slate or broken. One name hit like a freight train, Dr. Elias Crow. My uncle, the psychiatrist who'd vouched for our early prototypes. Disappeared last year, Lena said, ash falling from her cig. After he questioned the ethics. Vic's people handled it. Handled. The word slithered, implying depths darker than data. Uncle Elias, the man who'd raised me after Dad's crash, taught me code as therapy for a kid's rage. If she'd silenced him. I pocketed the stick, bought her round, and ghosted into the night, mind racing circuits. Back home, my new home, a sublet in Oakland's ghost town of foreclosures, I cross-referenced Elias's last email to me. Pre-prison. Watch her. Alex. Ambitions a hungry god. Attached? A photo of Victoria in D.C. Arm in arm with a general. Harlan's shadow in the background. The piece is slotted. She'd been building this web long before the garage days. Harlan her unwilling patron until he turned. My murder? Clean up for a loose end. The next leak was bolder. Timed for her big investor summit in Vegas. I funneled the implant specs through a dark web drop. Tagged to a journo at Wired with a grudge. Boom, front page screamer. Hale's hidden horror. AI amnesia for the masses? Shares tanked another 20%. Her empire wobbling like a drunk on heels. Protests erupted outside Hale HQ. Techies in hoodies chanting, "Delete the Queen." Victoria's counter? A smear campaign. My face splashed across outlets as paroled killer stalking ex-wife. Cops knocked that afternoon. Badges gleaming. Questions pointed. Heard you're harassing S.
Hale.
I played dumb. Lawyer on speed dial, pro bono from a prison buddies firm. But the chill settled deep. She was flipping the script, painting me the villain in our shared tragedy. That night, paranoia peaked, shadows in the alley. A car idling too long. I bolted to a safe house Marcus prepped in the Excelsior. A basement lair stacked with servers and canned beans. You're in the deep end now, he Skyped. Face pixelated. Feds or her private muscle?
Didn't matter.
Revenge wasn't a sprint. It was a siege. From the basement, I orchestrated shadows. Hired a PI, ex-cop named Ruiz, to tail her inner circle. Trent the COO? Stupping interns. Easy blackmail fodder. I dropped an anonymous tip to TMZ, grainy pics. His resignation by dawn. Next, her lead investor, a VC vulture named Phelps, who'd funneled Harlan's dirty money. Ruiz dug up offshore ties. And poof, IRS audit notice. His fund hemorrhaging. Victoria's calls leaked via my worm. Find a rat. Trent. Before I skin you. Her voice cracked. Desperation seeping.
Good.
Let it fester. But the baby card gnawed. Had she miscarried alone? Or was that my blind spot? I hit the archives. Hospital records from that air night. Our daughter. Unnamed. Gone at 20 weeks. Notes mentioned stress from work. Victoria's signature on a waiver for experimental meds. Early Hale trials. For high-risk pregnancies. Had she dosed herself with untested shit, risking us both for the grind? The revelation twisted like barbed wire. My sacrifice for Harlan wasn't just loyalty, it was atonement for a marriage I'd ignored cracking. Vegas fallout hit peak when she took the stage at the summit. Lights hot. Crowd electric. I watched streamed, heart pounding as she gripped the podium. These attacks? From those who fear progress. We've lost loved ones. Mine to violence. Yours to stagnation. But we rise. Camera caught her glance off stage. To a man in shadows, tall. Silver-haired. Familiar. Harlan's brother?
No, Warden Klein.
My San Quentin overseer. The one who'd facilitated my early release.
Bribe?
Or deeper. The stream cut to Q&A. A reporter lobbing the amnesia bomb. Her smile didn't falter. Innovation demands risks. We're committed to ethics.
Lies.
Polished as her pearls. Post-event. My tracker pinged. Her suite. Then a helipad to Tahoe. Private. I flew commercial. Rented a snowmobile. Crested the ridge to her lakeside retreat. A modernist fortress of glass and gunmetal. Guards patrolling like wolves. Binocs caught her on the deck. Wine in hand. Arguing with Klein. Lips read easy. He knows too much. Finish it.
Me.
The order hung. Casual as room service. I didn't sleep. Dawn broke bloody over the lake. And I prepped, drone with payload. Marcus's cocktail of EMP and data wipe. But as I launched, doubt crept. Was this justice? Or just my own unraveling? The drone hummed low, skirting pines, dropping into her HVAC. Screens inside flickered, then died. Alarms wailed silent. Guards scrambled. Her face on backup Jenny cams, pale, furious, dialing frantic. Alex? If it's you, stop. Please. Voicemail.
Raw.
Temptation again. That old pull. But the drive's files scrolled my mind. Elias's obit. Accidental overdose.
No.
I triggered the second payload. Broadcast of the breach logs to every investor's inbox. Time-stamped from her Tahoe IP. Empire quake. By noon, her stock was in freefall. Feds raiding HQ. She surfaced on CNN from an undisclosed spot. Betrayal from within. But I'll fight.
Fight.
Yeah, we both would. The Tahoe incursion was my Rubicon. Cross it. And there's no unringing the bell. News helicopters buzzed like hornets as I peeled out on the snowmobile. The drone's debris smoking in her chimney. Her empire's digital guts spilling across the net. Feds swarmed Silicon Valley by evening. Black SUVs choking the 101. Hale's glass spire cordoned like a crime scene. I holed up in a Reno casino. The slots ding-ding-ding a numb symphony to my pulse. Anonymous in the smoke haze. Marcus patched in. You're viral. Man. Erase Hale trending. Half want her head. Half call her martyr. Martyr. The irony burned. I'd worn that crown for her once. Her statement dropped at midnight. A video from God knows where. Hair tousled. Eyes fierce. This witch hunt? Orchestrated by my ex. The man I pitted after his crime. But Hale stands.
Pity.
The word landed like a slap. Reframing my sacrifice as pathology. Comments exploded. Trolls dubbing me Prison Pete. Feminists decrying her as abused survivor. Polarized. Just like America, tribes forming over half-truths. No room for the gray, where we both drowned. Ruiz called from a burner. She's lawyered up. Alex. Top firm. The ones who spring oligarchs. And Klein? He's singing to the DOJ, immunity for ratting on her consults.
Klein.
The warden with the Yale drawl who'd slipped me contraband books. Now flipping like a Senate hearing. His deal?
Spill on the implants.
The black market sales to IC for deportee compliance. My Uncle Elias's name surfaced in leaks. Consultant. Deceased under suspicious circumstances. Suspicious. The obit I'd skimmed now screamed cover-up. Talk screen inconclusive, but Lena's USB had the kicker. Hale prototype in his bloodstream. Accidental exposure. She dosed him quiet. Like a bad vaccine. Rage boiled.
Pure ethanol.
But laced with shame. I'd greenlit those trials. Blind to the abyss. Our marriage? A co-conspiracy. Her ambition my enabler. The Reno night blurred into blackjack and bad bourbon. A waitress named Kay hitting on me with pity eyes. Rough night. Han. Felt foreign.
Human.
I ghosted before dawn. Hitching to Salt Lake. Then a Greyhound east, zigzagged to shake tails. Paranoia, my co-pilot. New York hit like a fever dream. The canyons of steel swallowing me whole. I crashed at a walk-up in Hell's Kitchen. The radiator hissing like accusations. And went dark, no net. Just burner flips to Marcus for drops. The empire crumbled in real time, investors bailing. Class actions stacking like Jenga. Victoria's face dominated Times Square jumbotrons, wanted for questioning. But she was smoke. Jetting private to islands I'd never mapped. Her flip? Blaming me fully now. A podcast hit piece. Alex staged the Harlan thing. Blinks. Blood packs. He was always unstable. Recordings leaked, my prison calls, twisted to sound menacing. The public ate it. Cable news, looping my mugshot. Pundits pontificating on tech's toxic men. Controversial? Hell yes, believe Vic surged. Painting her, the Me Too icon. Me the incel avenger. But whispers grew. Whistleblowers. Coders spilling on the memory wipes. Victims' families suing. No clear villain. Just a mirror maze of complicity. I struck from the shadows. Targeting her lifeline, the board. Phelps was already toast. But the chairman, a fossil named Hargrove, old money from Boston Brahmins, held veto power. Ruiz tailed him to a gala at the Met. Me in a rented tux slipping Mickeys into a scotch. Truth serum light. Enough for loose lips. He babbled to a recorder. Vic's brilliant. But ruthless. Harlan? She handled it, said Alex took care.
Took care.
Euphemism for my frame job. The audio dropped to the board's private Slack, courtesy of Marcus's backdoor. Resignations cascaded. Hale's market cap evaporating like Vegas winnings. Victoria retaliated swift. PI's on my trail. A hit piece in the Post claiming I'd abused her pre-prison. Lies. Mostly, but the miscarriage? She spun it as my neglect, working nights while she bled alone. Guilt gnawed. A rat in the walls. Had I missed the signs? Buried in code and ambition? Our Napa wedding vows, in sickness. In empire, now mocked me. The twist came in a Philly bus depot. Rain sheeting the windows like tears. A kid, maybe 12, shoved an envelope into my hand. From her. Inside, a ultrasound photo. Grainy black-white. Dated last month. Our second chance? Note in her script. Bullshit. Forged. Or worse, real? My gut churned. We talked kids post-release. Pillow whispers in visiting room dreams.
But now?
Leverage. Pulling me into the open. I torched it. But the seed rooted. What if redemption was possible? Not just ruin? Marcus scoffed. Trap?
Dude.
She's cornered. Lashing. Maybe. I pushed east to D.C., the belly of the beast, posing as a consultant for a think tank on AI ethics. The Hill buzzed with Hale hearings, senators grilling empty chairs. Her no-show fueling fury. Klein testified. Silver tongue unspooling. Implants used on detainees. Erase confessions. Planted compliance. Gallery gasped. I blended in back row. Heart thundering. Then her proxy appeared. A slick attorney. MS. Hale denies all. Claims sabotage by her ex-husband. Alexander Reed. Name drop. As spotlights swiveled. Security eyeing exits. I slipped out, pulse racing, into the metro's underbelly. From a foggy bottom flophouse, I unleashed the crown jewel, the Harlan Drive, decrypted full, blasted to WikiLeaks mirrors. Treason grade, data sales to adversarial states, user psyops for elections. Her empire? A house of treason cards. Feds pivoted. APB on her and me both, accomplices in the court's eye. But the public split. Her as visionary persecuted. Me as vengeful ghost or guilty patsy. Protests clashed. Tech libertarians versus privacy hawks.
No winners.
Victoria surfaced in a bunker vid. Alex. If you see this, stop. For what we had. What we had. Echoed the baby lie. Or truth. I cracked. Dialing her from a payphone. Tahoe. Midnight. Alone. Truce? Or endgame? The line crackled. Come home. Alex. Home. The word hollowed me as I boarded a red-eye west. The Rockies below a jagged scar. The flight to Reno was turbulence incarnate. The plane bucking like a bronco as storm clouds swallowed the Sierras, mirroring the churn in my chest. Tahoe loomed. That glass eyrie now a fortress under siege, drones circling like vultures. News choppers etching the sky. I rented a beater Jeep in Southlake, chains rattling over black ice. The tracker's ghost signal pulling me to her coordinates. Midnight approached. The lake a black mirror reflecting fractured stars. Wind howling through pines like banshee warnings. No guards at the gate, her orders, just the crunch of my boots on gravel as I crested the drive. She waited on the deck, silhouette sharp against the fire pit's glow. A bottle of our old Napa cab uncorked beside her. Alex, she called, voice carrying soft. No edge. I approached slow, hands open, the drive's weight in my coat like a stone heart. You came. Statement. Not question. Her face, lit orange, showed lines I didn't remember, fatigue or fear. We circled words like boxers. Her pouring wine I didn't touch. The leaks, it's you, right? Tearing it down because I left you behind. Behind. As if prison were a commute. 5 years.
Beak.
For your handling of Harlan. And the others, Elias. The clinics. Her laugh cracked. Hollow. Elias? He was unstable. Alex. Like you after the baby. The meds. They helped me cope. The ultrasound burned in memory, fake or not. It weaponized our loss. You used me. The blinks. The confession. Built this on my blood. She stepped closer. Eyes locking. That old spark flickering. We built it. You signed the trials. Dreamed the code. Harlan threatened everything. Our future. With her, it was always tomorrow's promise. Today's betrayal. The wind gusted. Flames dancing. And she reached, fingers on my jaw, tracing scar from a prison shank. I loved you. Still do. The Empire? It's ours if you stop. Temptation. Velvet-gloved. But the drive whispered. Treason files. Elias's dose. Sirens distant, feds closing. Snapped the trance. The baby's real, she pressed. Hand to belly. Tested positive last week. After you. Lie detector in her eyes. Micro-twitch. Pupil flare. Forged again. Or desperate truth. I pulled the drive. USB glinting firelit. This ends it. All of it. Her face shifted, calculation to fury. You think you're clean? Your signatures. Our marriage, co-conspirators.
True.
The moral mire sucked deep. No white knight. Just two wolves in sheep's coat. She lunged, not for the drive. But me, kiss fierce. Tasting of wine and regret. Fight with me? Not against. Body memory betrayed. Arms wrapping despite the rage. But clarity crashed. Klein's testimony looping in my head. Victims' faces from Lena's files. I shoved back. Breath ragged. No more masks. The drive sailed into the fire. Files auto-uploading to Marcus's dead man switch as it melted. Her scream rent the night, not pain, but unraveling. You bastard. It's over. Chaos erupted. Hellos thumping overhead. Spotlights spearing the deck. Feds swarmed the ridge.
Bullhorns blaring hale.
Reed. Out with hands up. She bolted inside. Me after. Instinct. Or unfinished business. The fortress labyrinthine. Panic rooms sealed. But I knew her codes, our anniversary. 0714.
Door hished open.
Her inside fumbling a satchel. Passports. Diamonds. The works. Run with me, she gasped.
Shoving one at me. Brazil?
Vanish act. Temptation peaked, beach. Baby. Erasure of sins. But the upload pinged. Files live. Empire imploding in real time. Sirens swelled. Boots pounding halls. Can't, I said. Voice steel. Elias. The others. You crossed the line. Her slap stung. Eyes wild. You drew it. The gun. The stage, you made me. Made her. The great American excuse. Blame the enabler. Feds breached. Tack vests gleaming.
Down. Now.
She fired wild. A Beretta from the satchel. Round, clipping my shoulder. Hot bloom. Pain shocked. But I tackled her. Drive remnants scattering like ash. Cuffs bit wrists as they zip-tied us back-to-back on the deck. Lake lapping indifferent. Her head lolled against mine. Whisper hot. If we burn together. Romantic. Or threat. Medics patched my graze. Feds Mirandizing in stereo. The raid netted servers. Ledgers, her web exposed. Threads to Langley. Beijing. By dawn. Choppers ferried us to holding. Her in one bird. Me another. Empires and illusions crumbling below. Interrogation was a blur. Fluorescent hell.
Gemen talk teaming.
You staged Harlan for her? Nod. Implants? Your idea? Partial. They painted me accessory. Her the queen pin. But leaks had polarized. Her fans rioting in SF. Decrying deep state takedown, my victims' advocates demanding my head too.
No héroes.
Just hashtags. Victoria's cell adjoined mine through one-way glass. I watched her pace. Compose herself. That unbreakable poise cracking only when alone.
Tears silent.
The twist dropped midweek. DNA results from her pregnancy.
Real.
6 weeks. Confirmed. Paternity?
Mine.
From a conjugal weed faked in prison smuggled sample. Her desperation play. Shock rippled. Revenge derailed by life. The ultimate controversy. Prosecutors offered deals. Her flip on foreign ties for leniency. Me testify against her for reduced time. But the public feud. Op-eds debating, monster or mother? Splitting readers on forgiveness versus justice. Marcus visited. Grizzled. Kids leverage.
Man.
Bail on revenge.
Bail.
The word tempted. Visions of appeals. Co-parenting in shadows. But Elias's ghost loomed. The clinic's echoes.
No.
I took the stand first. Philly Federal Court Circus, cameras flashing, gallery packed with picketers. She used me. I testified, voice steady. But I let her. The secret? We both buried it. Her cross-exam was surgical. Eyes locking. You pulled the trigger. Alex. Own it. Jury swayed. No clear villain. The courtroom in Philly felt like a coliseum. The air thick with schadenfreude and stale coffee. Spectators craning like Romans at the lions mauling. My testimony hung. A noose of half-confessions. The judge, a grizzled vet named Kowalski with a Philly drawl, banging gavel to curb the gasps when I dropped the blanks reveal. So, Mr. Reed, you staged a homicide to protect MS. Hale, the prosecutor, a shark named Vasquez, leaned in, accent clipped.
Yes.
For love. Or what I thought was. Victoria, across the aisle in orange jumpsuit that clashed her porcelain, met my gaze, not hate, but something fractured, like code compiling error. Her lawyer, the silver fox from her bunker days, objected. Speculation. My client was victim of Mr. Reed's obsession. Obsession. The word twisted our history. Her ambition my pathology. The baby news leaked mid-trial, courtesy of a clerk's big mouth, igniting sidebar frenzy. Tech scandals secret spawn. Pundits on Fox and MSNBC duked it out. One side crowing, redemption arc. The other cradlecon. Divided. Deliciously, readers picking teams. Debating if vengeance births salvation, or just more sins. Jury deliberated 3 days. Holed up in that deliberative purgatory while we stewed in adjacent holdings, me pacing a 6x8. Her visible through the mirror. Curled fetal. Hand on belly. Whispers from guards. She's singing. Lightning load for the kid. Singing.
Betrayal encore.
But when verdict dropped, her guilty on fraud. Conspiracy. Me guilty on accessory. Manslaughter upgrade. I saw relief in her eyes. A ghost of our garage laughs. Sentences staggered. Her 15 to life. Me 7 with parole shot. The baby, to be born in supermax maternity. Custody battles looming. Appeals stacked. But the empire? Auctioned off. Patents to rivals. Her shaping tomorrow, now footnotes in antitrust tomes. Outside. Rain lashed Broad Street. Protesters clashing, her Free Vic cult versus. Victim families waving Elias's photo. I nodded to one. A sister with haunted eyes. He was good. She spat. Your fault too.
Fair. No absolution.
Just the grind of consequence. Transfer to FCI Danbury was a cattle drive, chained bus rumbling through Appalachia. Fall leaves bloody under tires. Victoria's convoy separate. But rumor mill churned, she'd named the baby Harlan. Spite or homage. Danbury's women's side invisible. But letters slipped through contraband notes in laundry. Her script shaky. It's a girl.
Harper.
For the code we wrote.
Harper.
Our old project. AI for lost memories. Irony laced bitter. My routine locked in. Yard time dodging Aryan stairs. Library stacks for law books. Plotting appeals on napkins. Marcus visited Sundays. Smuggling USBs of case law. Fight it.
Mun.
Paternity suit could spring you. Co-parenting clause.
Fight.
But for what? The kid. A cipher in orange scrubs. Or just delaying the void. Prison redux. But wiser, I taught coding to lifers. Basic Python on smuggled pads. Their eyes lighting like kids with fire. 1. A lifer named Rico for a heist gone wrong. Grinned. You the hail guy? Badass. Badass. Or broken. Months blurred. Seasons turning hostile. Thanksgiving turkey dry as regret. Christmas cards from no one. Then the hearing. Custody prelim. Virtual from a cinderblock room. Judge peering through screen. Victoria on feed from her wing. Harper, now 3 months. Chubby-cheeked in a onesie. On a social worker's lap. Oblivious. Mr. Read. Your record, violent. Unstable. Vasquez again. Prosecutor turned family court hawk. I leaned to Mike. I took falls for love. Won't for this. Her feed flickered. Eyes pleading silent. Let it go. But I pushed. DNA confirmed. My appeal grinding. Shared custody. Monitored. Judge mulled. Public gallery. Press mostly. Scribbling fever. Granted.
Tentative. Weekend supervised.
Post-parole. Victory? Or chain? Victoria's post-hearing note. Don't curse her with us. Curse. The word echoed our miscarriage. The what-ifs. Parole hearing hit spring 27. Boardroom sterile as a scalpel. Psych eval painted me reformed. Victim statements from clinics tempered by my testimony clout. Model inmate, they droned. Stamping release. Out in May. World remade. Self-driving Ubers everywhere. Ad glacis norm. Hails ghost in every ad. Rivals hawking ethical AI on her corpse. I scooped Harper first visit. Her tiny fist gripping my finger. Eyes mine. Blue-gray, wide. Victoria watched from plexi. Voice tinny. Be better. Better. The vow settled. But revenge's echo lingered. Her empire dust. But scars etched. Media hounded. Redemption or reckoning? I dodged. Sublet in Philly burbs. Gig coding for a non-profit. Open source privacy tools. Ironic penance. But she wasn't done flipping. 6 months free. Harper toddling. A package arrived. The old drive's back up. Salvaged somehow. With addendum files, my signatures forged?
No.
Real. But contextualized. Notes proving I pushed the risky trials. Post-miscarriage grief fueling blind ambition. Her note. Truth hurts. But it's ours. Leak threat? Or olive? Public reignited. Podcast dissecting who broke whom. Fans splitting on shared guilt. I confronted by a lawyer. Why now? Reply. Harper deserves clean.
Clean.
The great whitewash. Tension coiled. Appeal her sentence? Or let rot? Elias's sister called. Don't soften. For him. Divided again. The moral chasm yawning. Climax brewed in a Jersey motel. Harper with sitter. Me meeting her proxy, Klein. Out on deal. Silver hair thinner. Vic wants meat. Neutral ground. Trap or closure? I went. Rain-slicked warehouse by the turnpike. Her waiting in civvies. Gaunt but unbroken. Alex. No babe. Just name. We circled. Words weapons. The files blackmail? Her shrug. Balance. You destroyed mine. I hold yours.
Stalemate.
Then Harper's photo on her phone. Giggling, she's you. Fierce. Thaw cracked. Tears mutual. We were good once.
Were.
But the flip. Run. Take her. I'll claim overdose. End it clean. Sacrifice or escape? Controversy peaked. Her suicide would martyr her. Free assets frozen. But paint me sole guardian villain. I refused. No more falls. Feds burst, her tip-off. Immunity play. Cuffs again. But hers lighter, cooperating full. Treason charges dropped for testimony. Mine? Cleared. Accessory voided on new evidence, her confession tape. Mailed anonymous. Freedom's afterglow faded fast. The warehouse bust a pyre for our last illusions. Victoria led away and unmarked. Deal struck. Her eyes on mine holding not hate, but a weary truce. For Harper, she mouthed as doors slammed. Feds debriefed me in a fluorescent box. She's flipping on the whole network. Generals. Diplomats. Your kid's safe. Safe. The word rang hollow. Harper's coups over FaceTime from the sitter a lifeline in the limbo. Charges evaporated. Prosecutors dropping accessory with her tape. Painting me duressed patsy. Media spun wild. Hale's heartbreak. Betrayed hubby cleared. But the undercurrent? Skeptics snarling deal with the devil. Digging my trial signatures. Clinic's ghosts. No clean win. Just survival's gray smear. I scooped Harper from Philly. Her babble, data, a bomb. And bolted west, Oregon coast. A cabin rental under alias. Waves crashing judgment on driftwood shores. Marcus wired seed money. Start fresh.
Man.
Open source your revenge. Revenge. Now it tasted like ash. Empires fall, a hollow echo. Portland subsumed us. Rainy veil over hipster havens, food carts slinging fusion. Brewpubs debating ethics over IPAs. I gigged remote. Hardening privacy apps for activists. Harper's Daycare, a co-op of tattooed moms who eyed my widower fib with soft suspicion. Nights. She'd nurse bottle while I scrolled ghosts. Victoria's hearing streamed. Her testimony, a scalpel on the elite. Data for dictators. My tech enabled it. Cameras caught her belly rounding. Harper's sister brewing. Sentence reduced to 7. Time served plus house arrest post-birth. Deals perk. Letters came. Smuggled by lawyers. Name her Echo. For the signals we missed. Echo. Poetic. Or manipulative. I named mine Sage. Born in a coastal clinic. Her cries sinking waves. 2 girls now. Mirrors of fracture. Harper's fire. Sage's calm. Victoria's proxy visited. She wants photos. I sent. Guarded. The chasm bridging slow. But darkness clings. Elias's sister, Aunt Mara, surfaced in a seaside cafe. Salt air sharp. You owe him.
Oh.
The clinic's suits dragged. Victims naming me co-defendant. Settlements bled my gigs dry. One plaintiff, a mom whose son emerged blank from a trial, confronted at a park. You coded his erasure. Harper clung. Terrified, I stammered apology. Check in hand, too little, too late. Guilt's tide rose. Drowning fresh starts. Marcus warned. She's out soon. Parole board soft on moms.
Out.
The thought coiled. Confrontation inevitable. Public simmered. Docuseries Empire of Lies dropped. Polarizing Netflix. Her as anti-hero. Me the flawed foil. Viewers argued forums. He deserved prison enabler versus. She made him. No consensus. Just the American itch for sides. Parole granted her in 29. Spring bloom mocking the rot. She emerged to fanfare, press scrum at gates. Reform tech queen, but vanished quick. Address shielded. I prepped. Custody mod hearing. Portland courthouse, a bustle of clerks and coffee. She appeared. Sage on hip, wait. No. Echo. Named defiant. Toddling beside. Alex. Voice same. Softer edges. Harper squealed. Bridging arms. Chaos of reunion. Judge adjourning for family consult. We talked in a side room. Kids playing blocks. I flipped for this. Her gesture to chaos. The network? Gutted. But you clear?
Nod.
Your files helped. Truce teetered. Words mining old veins. The baby, Harper. I lied about timing, but not feeling. Feeling. Miscarriage's scar twinged. Elias, I pressed. Her flinch. Accident. Overdose on the prototype, he pushed too.
Pushed.
Blames boomerang. We agreed shared custody. Supervised neutral. Oregon's gray custody. No winners. Life interleaved awkward. Handoffs at parks. Her rental in Eugene. Tech consulting for Greens, ethical AI. Irony thick. Dinners happened.
Tentative Harper Chattering Bridge.
Echo gumming peas. But flips lurked. A night. Wine flowing. Her hand on mine. We could.
Could.
Bed creaked under ghosts. Morning regret sharp. Not again, I whispered. She nodded. Eyes wet. Monsters attract. Monsters. Self-aware.
At last.
Public watched. Tabloids sniffing reunion rumors. Fans shipping Viclex. Haters howling Stockholm. Controversy fueled her gigs. My apps boomed on backlash wave. But the secret's tail lashed. A whistleblower from her old R&D. Claiming I buried a report on implant risks pre-Harlan. Forged or forgotten. DOJ reopened. Subpoenas flying. Your signature. Agent said over coffee. Badge casual. Oversight, I countered. But doubt seated. Climax crested in a cascade cabin getaway. Us. Kids. Family therapy mandated. Rain hammered roof. Fire crackling. Stories spilling. Garage dreams. Miscarriage night. Harlan's rain-slick threat. I pulled the trigger, I admitted. But you loaded it. Her nod. We both aimed. Catharsis? Or trap? Kids asleep. We walked porch. Mist cloaking. The report, I hid it. For us. Her confession. Voice breaking. Hid. To protect the dream. Betrayal's loop closed. Mutual. But the call came dawn. Feds. New evidence. Treason tied to you. Her face drained. My deal, I didn't.
Didn't.
Or did. She flipped final. Testifying my innocence. Framing a dead exec. Cleared again. But cost. Her extended house arrest. Empire's remnants seized. Go, she urged. Kids bundled. I'll haunt from afar. I drove south.
Harper quizzing mama.
Sage cooing. Fresh start or exile. Media frenzy. Hale's last lie saves X. Sync self. Debates raged. Heroic sacrifice or cynical play? Readers split eternal. No right. Just ripple. The drive from Cascades to Coast was a meditation in mirrors, Harper's queries fading to naps. Sage's gurgles sinking wiper swish. The Pacific emerging like absolution's edge. Victoria's final flip, testifying to my duress, pinning the buried report on a ghost exec, sealed my clearance. DOJ closing file with a shrug. Insufficient. But her cost? House arrest till echoes 5. Assets frozen to reparations fund for victims. Letters resumed. Sparse. Kids okay? Weather shit.
Shit.
Her humor. Peeking through bars. I settled in Astoria. Old cannery loft overlooking Columbia's mouth. Gig steady, teaching code at community college. Students wide-eyed on privacy's front lines. Life normalized. Or its facsimile. Playdates. PDA dodges. Harper's kindergarten finger paints of family tree branching odd. Sage walked early. Defiant steps echoing her aunt's fire. Aunt Mara visited. Elias's shadow softer. You're trying. That's enough. Enough. The word. Once poison. Now poultice. Years telescoped. 30s blur of elections rigged by AI ghosts. Hale's specter in every data scandal. Victoria paroled full in 33. Emerging to TED stages, from empire to empathy. Applause thundered. Her book, Erased Codes bestseller. Our Story. Laundered. Me the flawed muse. Controversy clung. Critics calling whitewash. Fans hailing redemption. We met neutral, Seattle neutral. Coffee shop with kids in tow. Now 7 and 4. Awkward hugs thawing to laughs. You look Pacific, she quipped. Salt in my beard noted. Harper grilled. Why jail? Mama? Vic's pause. My cue. Grown-up mistakes. Learning.
Learning.
The thread we wove. Fragile. Dates crept dinners. Hikes. Her Eugene eco home a greenhouse of second chances. Bed again.
Slower.
Consent layered like code comments. This time, no secrets.
No.
But habits die hard. A night. Her phone buzzed, old contact. Loose end. I saw.
Trusted.
Let slide.
Trust.
The gamble. Twist landed summer 35. Harper's birthday barbecue, Astoria Beach. Waves lapping. Cake melting in heat. A man approached. Silver-haired. Klein's twin. Harlan's other brother. Long shadow. Tell Vic. The tapes exist.
Tapes.
Of what? The murder raw. Blanks and all? Or worse, our miscarriage meds. Proving her risk? He vanished in crowd. But seed planted. I confronted post-party. Kids Abed. Klein's kin. Tapes. Her face ashen. Old bluff. Harlan's insurance. Bluff.
Or bomb.
She swore clean. But I dug Marcus. Retired to Baja. One last hack. Encrypted drop. Timestamp pre-prison. Contents? Audio. Her voice. Harlan's. Deal for data. My name as asset. Asset. Not love. But appendix, my voice. Drunk post-miscarriage. Pushing test the meds, fix us. Complicity confirmed. Mutual madness. The leak? Not hers. But mine accidental. Drive sync to cloud. Forums ignited. Hale read Redix, who lied last? Public cleaved. Her as survivor. Me enabler reloaded. Or vice versa. Endless thread wars. Feds sniffed. But statutes lapsed. Just civil suits from ghosts. We fought. Lawyers dueling. Custody teetering. Climax in court again, Portland Family Division. Judge weary. Enough drama. Testimony raw. Her, I hid for protection. Mine, we hid together. Jury, mediator, split. Joint custody holds. But no contact clause for us. No contact. The gut punch. Kids shuttling sands us linking. Harper raged. Fix it. We couldn't or wouldn't. Fearing cycle. Ending? No tidy bow. Just fade to American uneasy. Victoria vanished to TED circuits. Book tours. Echo in tow. Harper visits solo. Reports Mama's happy.
Me?
Astoria roots deepen. Sage coding beside.
College scout sniffing.
Mara dies 38. While leaving Elias's old laptop. Files of our early dreams. Pure before ambition. I frame a printout. Code for good. Letters stop. But sightings. Her face on billboards. Ethical tomorrow. Empire's echo. Reformed. Harper. Teen now. Asks once. Regret? Regret. The hooks close. Every day.
But you?
Worth the storm. She nods.
Fierce.
Twists debate lingers. Forums still argue. Villain or victim. We were both. The dark heart of the dream. Betrayed. Betrayers. Unbreakable in fracture. Revenge? It broke us even. Shards glinting in the rear view. And in quiet Astoria nights. Waves whispering. I wonder. Erase it all. Or hold the secret tight. The empire fell. But we endure flawed. Free-ish. Forever arguing the end.